Okay, so we're going to take a look here at collaborating on a spreadsheet in Google Docs. Now the first thing to know is that we're logged in as two different users, including two different browsers. In this Chrome browser is logged in as Brad Henry, and in the Firefox browser I'm logged in as not. And if I look, I can see up top that it tells me that there's one other viewer, and both informs me. Now if I want to see who the other viewer is, simply select one other viewer. I can see, aha, Brad Henry. And the same applies for not. Now if there's multiple users, each user will show up in this list. So if you have 20 people in this document at one time, then 20 people will show up in the list. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this again, and you see that I can close this again by selecting the arrow button. Now, a couple of things to note. Say that I'm going to make a change. So say I want to change the date. One of the first things to notice here is that I just clicked on A7. Now if I look over here, I can now see as not that Brad Henry is updating cell A7. Now watch what happens if I go through and let's say I go ahead and change this color. Whoa. Pretty slick. So now I can see that things change pretty quickly, and I can see it in real time. And I'm going to do the same thing inversely. So if I select these as green, I'm just selecting random colors. Pretty cool. So let's say I just want to go through and make Jennifer Bale's name here bold. You can see it's bold. Yay. Okay. So now, see, everything works pretty smoothly in this particular case. But let's say I suddenly select filter, and let's say not wants to go through and they want, let's say in this instance I'm making an update. So I'm going to go ahead and select that particular cell, but on this individual I'm going to go through and clear out all times but 8 p.m. and I select OK. Whoa, what just happened? So now you see what just happened? Even though B6 is still technically owned by Brad Henry because he has not released this particular cell, not just messed up the view for both views, and I shouldn't say messed up, has just changed and altered the view. So I'm going to go ahead and hit escape out of here. So this is what happens when you do things in real time. So here's my recommendation, is if you're going to make a particular change like that and you see that there's another active viewer, is to simply select, hey, I need to add a filter. Do you mind telling me when you are finished? Now notice how this just alerted the other particular user. So now we can chat back and forth. Sure, I will be done in 1 minute. So there we go. So that just lets you know exactly what happened. Now, secondary thing that was asked about was revision history. So now what I've done is I've selected File, and I select See Revision History. Now if I want to see the changes that are made, again you can see everything is color-coded, anything in green is not, and anything in pink is Brad Henry. Now note that the Show Changes is selected, so let's just say I select Not. I can see any particular changes made by not at this particular time. But let's say that I'm not quite seeing everything, because notice it says show more detailed revisions. If I select this, aha, now I've got the full view to see exactly what has happened. So now I can look and I can see, okay, this is what not changed. And let's say I wanted to go back to the original spreadsheet before any changes were made. can select on the sheet. So here's the original sheet. Notice no changes. Now I can select restore this version. Whoa. Now notice that it also just alerted the other individuals. Someone just reverted an older version. But we can see now that all of the changes that were made by the other user have been reverted. So that's why you always have to be careful when using this function. But it will also show in the revision history who did what at what time. So even though the revision was made, I can still look back to the 303 time and see the particular changes. So that's just a brief overview of some particular tools that you can use, and also a recommendation on collaborating using a spreadsheet when you need to use filters. So let me know if you have questions. Thanks.